Welcome back to Kino Summer Series. I'm your host, the Kino Cowboy, here with my co-host Scott Keith. This is the series where we watch more summer-themed films, hang back, chill, relax, talk about them. Today we're doing Olivier Assayas's Summer Hours from 2008.
And what says summer more than estate planning? Go on.
Yeah, I found this movie to be quite strange in its structure and just a lot of just I don't know everything about it. It's like a majority of this movie is just casual settling of affairs, and
It
it's
it
like,
is it is, I guess, what you're saying. If I describe the movie, it's a French movie, so you could be like, it nothing happens. Which is, I mean, and that's how I describe it to plebes. But you're right. It is so much of it is so realistic and so tense. It's funny. My grandmama was over this weekend, and I went to visit her. She was in town, and like she had her estate questionnaire out, and there were talks about it. And then my mom was like, "Don't use that pan at scratch; she'll get cancer." And I was like, "It'll take 20 years for her to get cancer. She doesn't have 20 years anyway. Who cares?" So I don't know. This one hit hard in a weird way, not a bad way, not in a melancholy way. I mean, in
uh,
a slightly melancholy way, but like it definitely, it hit. My parents are probably a few years younger than the mom in this movie, but they aren't French, so they don't smoke, so I'm not as worried about it. Um, uh, kind of a
but
guilt, kind of
this
hot.
is like this is a movie I wouldn't have probably cared for 10 years ago, but I got a lot out of watching it today or yesterday.
Mhm.
And it's because, well, my grandparents passed 4 and 5 years ago, and this was just so reminiscent of everything we went through during that time and just that weird transition of everything that I'd never experienced before. And it was like kind of a hard thing to grasp when it happened, and it happened so fast. And I feel like this movie is exactly like that. And it was like all it took was one good fall for my grandpa, for everyone to be like, well, it's time for the nursing home, basically. And it happened so fast. And then my grandparents were in the nursing home only for about 9, 20, 20, about 3 years. And then my grandma passed when she probably had a good 10 years left. But I don't know if she would have survived COVID because it was February 2020. And so it was like right before COVID hit. I don't know if she would have survived that. But so strange.
What is strange, and like, because this movie's so relatable in so many ways, but also very peculiar to this family. And it does a good job of writing that line of like everybody at some point, you know, if unless they die first, is gonna have to deal with this in one way or another. But also like it does a good job of like making it specific enough to, they have all these like paintings and object and like these kind of plot points that are very specific to this family and make it interesting. It's also interesting. Apparently, there's some stuff going on with French estate law that I don't even understand American estate law, so I'm not gonna talk about that. Um, they have higher taxes. I'm just assuming. Also, this is funny. I didn't realize that this film was produced by the Orsay Museum, or however you pronounce it. We're gonna butcher a French pronunciation, of course. So there's a bit of advertising of like, "Hey, we'll buy your dead mom's art."
I did not realize that.
Yeah, dude. I was like, "Oh, they got the Orsay. They were allowed to film in there." I was like, "Oh, that's because they're making the this movie's an ad, dude." This movie is it's a French version of Wayne's World where they show the Pizza Hut box, man. It's probably, I would say, objectively the greatest use of advertising in a film, product placement that I've ever seen with the Orsay. So I can't be that mad at it. They're like, look at how good we can restore your dead mom's sculpture thing.
Yeah.
But um outside of that, which really in this movie does do a good job. Like it is interesting. Like it, there's definitely like sadness to this movie, but it's not. It is still a summer vibe movie, and like it's not a crushingly depressing movie. Which if
No,
I described it to somebody is like, yeah, 75% of the movie is them just like talking about the estate. You're like, well, that sounds boring and depressing. And it's like, no, it's not. And I think that's kind of the point is like it's so matter of fact and
that's my literally how I wrote it. It's like matter of fact.
it's like well like you just have to and I've never had to deal with planning an estate, you know. I'm the youngest. I don't know, I'm hoping my brother has to deal with that crap. Not even like for emotional reasons, just like I don't want to do I hate paperwork. Completely selfish reasons, but the but
I
it was one of those where it's like you there's every time I hear somebody talk about having to do this, like it's so matter of fact, like there's so much like property and paperwork and all this stuff that you have to do. Like in a weird way, it's like it seems the debate is almost like how healthy is this that like we're dealing in it in this way, because on the one hand it's you kind of need a distancing mechanism just to like go on with your life. It's like people who like they have a parent die but they don't take off work because they're like no, I need normalcy, like I just need to get back to the office, you know. Some people just that's how they grieve. They're
yeah.
just like I need to like keep on going with my life, I can't take time off because then I'll just like retreat. And I can see myself being that way. I was thinking about it like if I, you know, I have these like thoughts of like, what if my entire family died in a car crash or something? And like, how would I was like, dude, I would have to like keep going on, or else I would just like start like binge watching movies and binge drinking and gaining 50 pounds. Like it wouldn't be good. So, you know, but on the other hand, it's like, I don't know, are you really dealing with the emotional aspect by dealing with these objects? Because the whole movie's like it's an observation. Like this is a weirdly materialistic family, just not in the typical like I don't know American Kardashian way. But even at the very beginning, it's kind of setting up like they had their careers and they're making Pumas and Chinas, and one's a fashion designer. Like, and there's like this kind of higher class, like upper middle class, lower upper class, sort of like European, but also global element to it. But
Yeah.
at the same time, it's like you're still kind of like 21st century capitalist versions of like this sort of and here's the thing, art's always been that. Like we have a painter, the kind of off-screen Paul Berthier or whatever, but like art's always been that. When people romanticize artists and stuff, it's like, you know, Renaissance painters were always they were working for the Medicis of the church, like they were had patrons, you know. um Money laundering, it's all money laundering in the fine art world. So it's kind of interesting that the Orsay like helped produce this film, because it's kind of like hinting, you know, kind of like pointing at that, you know, even though
Yeah.
it's the subtext, it's not the text. I mean, kind of is.
Side note, French movies always seem to have people eating outside in the countryside. I'm like, do they not have excessive mosquitoes and flies like we do in the
Dude, I
States?
was thinking like and maybe it's just a teenager thing. One of the teenagers was like wearing a black hoodie the whole time, and even like one of the daughter was wearing like a jumper. And I'm like, it's just one of these things where if you're in, I guess this is more northern France. It doesn't seem Mediterranean, you know.
Yeah.
Um, it's like when you talk to people from Minnesota and they talk about the summer and like going out and doing stuff, and we live, you know, in the South, so in the summer it's like my friend the other day was like, "You want to go to a baseball game?" I'm like, "Hell no, dude! It's 100. It's literally 100 degrees out.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to go."
Well, it's like I saw every year there's always some post that gets memed on, but it's like a guy saying like I had to do all this and it was the hottest day of the year and he lived in the UK and we did the math and it was 78 degrees. I'm like, this is child's play compared to the
Free.
Arkansas summer, man.
And then, but there's always that like pissing contest with people like, well, you should go to Louisiana. Oh, well, you should go to Houston. Oh, well, you should go to the Philippines. I'm like, all right, well, what are we doing here, dude? Yeah, I'm glad I don't work in the summer in the Philippines. Like, is that what you want? Is
Yeah.
that what you want me to say?
Yeah.
Like I'm not like working in a third world country on the farm, you know, no offense. Uh, I'm glad I'm not working in farm. I work at a warehouse. It gets
It's the
pretty damn
same
hot.
mentality. It's the weird mentality my dad has. Oh, he grew up in fucking third world Yugoslavia back when it was, you know, under communist Serbian regime, and he had to work in tobacco fields as a child. And it's like, what do you want your kids to have to do that shit so they can relate and have hard hands or something? Like,
Yeah,
what's
you
your
want your
point?
kids to suffer like you
Didn't you,
know.
aren't you glad you escaped to this country? Isn't that the whole point?
It is that odd thing, and well, getting back to this movie, I do think like it is that thing of like there's that aspect of like how much do you want your children's lives to be like yours, and how much do you want them to be better than yours? Because they even have that point where like some of the kids are what would you would call third culture, which is I've met a lot of these people and I'm friends with a lot of these people where it's like, you know, in this movie, it's like, well, they live in China, but they're French and their kids go to an English school.
Yeah.
So it's like they're sort of in this like weird cultural mix. And that's a lot of expats are like that. Like I have an expat friend who's like, he was a military brat. So he lived in like Japan and the Netherlands as a kid and like Texas for a bit where he's like family's from. So like
How strange.
so he like that's why he doesn't have like a strong cultural connection to any one country. Like even though he's American, an American citizen, you know, I have another friend who's like ethnically Indian, like born in Texas, mostly grew up in London, but his parents are like from South Africa, like crazy, like stuff like that. Where it's like, well, yeah, of course you're not going to have this cultural connection. So then it becomes this question of like, dude, it becomes this big question of like, what is a culture, you know, and how much is it the material aspects of that culture versus like other aspects? Because like we talk about culture a lot, I get annoyed at people who like travel. I've said it before, is like when you travel, you're engaging largely with the material aspects of that culture, not like the subtler cultural aspects, you know, which even in this movie, you're talking about like eating outside, you know, which sounds like a small thing, but like that's different from culture to culture, you know, depending on like where you live and the climate. And also like, you know, in France, allegedly, they'll have like a 2 hour lunch where they're just like talking and taking it easy. Where like
It's enough of a thing culturally that I've seen it in so many French movies that it can't be ignored.
no, it can't. No. And I think, again, even when we say Europe, we act like Europe's one country. And it's like, dude, Yugoslavia and France, like you said, like they're not the same thing.
Yeah.
Like we'll consider them both Europe kind of for just like convenience, but it's what are you talking about? Poland and Hungary versus Germany? Like, are you kidding me?
This is like so reminiscent of what I went through just 4 or 5 years ago with my
Mm-hmm.
family that it allowed me to recontextualize some things that I don't know. I haven't really bothered processing every aspect of that, but it's just like we said, a matter of fact life transition. And but it's like, yeah, my grandparents' house was the center of everything with my family, and it's like naturally people drift apart, do their own things. I was never super close with my family, but I always enjoyed when everyone got together and it was always at their house. And I even have this connection to my grandparents' house that like I still have dreams that take place there, even though I don't know, it's really strange.
Wow.
Yeah, even now. And it's like the whole film is about them weighing whether they should give up the estate or not, what they should do with everything inside, classic pieces and stuff. And it's like there was a great debate about my grandparents' house, and it ended up it's rented out now, and I don't even like to go over there and even pass it because it's just too hard because it's like the new renters, they've been allowed to like, work on stuff and renovate because some of that needed to happen anyway, but they kind of changed the outside and I've heard the interiors are gone. And it was such like a mid-century artifact, like with all the wood paneling and the like weird 70s carpeting and stuff. It was like I wish that they didn't have to change that inside, but I know it's like it's gonna happen anyway, and that's just how it is. And I
Well,
saw a lot of that.
and they talk about that in this
I
movie.
saw a lot of that in this movie. Yeah,
Yeah, because it's run down. Which I'll just say right now, as we're talking about the house, god tier production design, like absolutely
yeah,
amazing. I'm like, I seriously think I feel like they found like an old person's house and just filmed in it. Like it does not feel like a film set at all. Like the just production design and mise en scène and the verisimilitude is some of the best I've ever seen in a movie. Like I'm really want to hammer
sure,
that home, like how impressed I was and how like and the movie doesn't work without that. It's like if the house doesn't
yeah,
work, the movie doesn't work. You
yeah.
know, it'd be like if ET was like a cheap puppet versus like a
It's very drawn. Yeah, it's connected so hard. Even the aspect at the beginning, just like the cousins running around doing like a treasure hunt, scavenger hunt. It's very like when I saw my cousins, it's like we would all run around outside. We would come up with games. We would play Fug or not Fugitive, Cops and Robbers and stuff like that. We would get the neighborhood kids in on it too. So it was always like since I lived at Briarwood, the pool, people at home, you may have heard me talk about that in the past, but my grandparents owned a pool estate.
big city pool, not a public pool, but
Whoa,
like you
your
know.
your mic just peaked hard again.
Oh, I'm sorry.
People
Um,
at home, if you don't know, my grandparents also owned a pool. This pretty much the only pool you had to go to in our hometown, unless you had like a uh, neighborhood pool or something in like a suburban kind of thing. But there was an estate in the middle, a little apartment that we would stay in because we didn't really have to pay rent and we were broke. So anyway, living on that estate, I didn't have neighborhood kids to play with. So when I was at my grandparents', I did. And so when my cousins were there, it was like I cherish those memories. So having it open with that kind of experience hit extra hard for me. I was like, wow, I'm fully drawn in. And then we get to examine the matriarch before she passes, and we get a glimpse of kind of how she operates, and you get that sense of like she can be kind of hard to deal with sometimes, just with her little nitpicking at every instance. Like she
young
gets.
lady.
All right, we've switched to Epic Gamer Scott because Zoom.
Dude, it's we're having mic problems. I feel like a geek. I don't know. This is my gaming headset. Let's move on. Let's talk about goddamn French cinema with my
But
fucking
anyway,
gaming
yeah.
headset on.
Like she's gifted those house phones, so it's like easier, so she doesn't just have one phone in one room. And she's like, well, this phone works just fine, and blah blah blah. I don't see the reason for this, but thank you, I guess. It's like so backhanded. It's like, oh my God. And
Yeah,
like,
and she doesn't install them too. She's like, you need help. To phones really always have been the enemy of old people. It seems. Um, she never installs them, dude. Which is like real passive aggressive.
yeah,
And they're like, well, here's a useful one, and they give her a blanket. And I was like, the other one was useful. They're both useful. What are you talking about?
yeah. And same with like a big aspect is the book that was being published, and like the English version has some differences from the French version, and she's just nitpicking and saying, "Oh, the translation inside the jacket isn't what it should be," and all this stuff. And it's like, you should be like so excited and proud that this is published at all. And like, she's just finding stuff to, I don't know. I
But
guess,
as she can feel the end coming for her,
yeah,
and like so she's grieving her own death like ahead of time, which is
yeah.
also bringing back the grieving of her uncle that she had a romantic relationship with, which is also very French. I don't know why, it just is. Um, I'm assuming not blood related. Uh,
So yeah, you can kind of tell that's definitely on the brain, but like, still, you're spending. Yeah, you can tell this is like the last time everyone's going to be at the house together. You can just feel it. and she's spending that time like talking to her son about her death and like handling the estate and stuff, and he tries to get her to change the subject. And I get that. She she seems like the one who, oh, I don't want to be a bother. I'm literally dying, but I don't want to be a bother and tell everybody. It's like you can just,
Yeah, who are you, Norm Macdonald? Like, I don't know.
It's like I don't know. Her brain operates in a weird way. And it honestly, unfortunately, it kind of reminded me of my grandmother because my grandmother would be the one I'd do all this cool this like stuff for her and it would be like cool. I would be like, "Wow, I did a good job." And then instead of appreciating all the good stuff I did, she would find the one thing I missed and would like point that out and I'd be like, "Oh, okay, well, thanks
Dude,
then. All right."
what is it with getting older that makes people do that?
Yeah, I don't know.
Are they just mad that like kids aren't drafted nowadays and are jealous? Like, what is the I like what I'm what is the deal?
I don't know.
What's the deal?
It's like the only thing I guess I can be fair about is like I don't know, like when she's receiving gifts and she's being like that, you don't have to be like that. But also like there's something about me that I hate kind of being at the center of attention at a birthday party and like opening all these gifts and like I have to put on a show. It's like I'm appreciative of these things, but I feel like I have to like be more than I am to be like appreciative. I don't like the spotlight on me. I don't know. I'm really strange
No,
that
no,
way.
there's a my birthday's coming up. I don't know if I just doxed myself, but it's annoying because people were asking me what I want, and I'm like, I don't know. I'm turning 32. A cake, that would be cool. I don't care. Like, there's this
Yeah.
weird performative aspect to it. And by the time you're 75, it's kind of a milestone, three-quarters of a century. But at the
Yeah.
same time, it's like, dude, I don't know. Give me a blanket, hang out. This is the last time I ever see you. But then, like, yeah, but then the performative aspect, but then also you have to like nitpick. Like, I don't know, just do what everybody else does when you get a gift you don't want. Say thank you, act excited, then, throw it away. Like,
I
like
don't know. Yeah,
regift it.
I'm also someone like who has hated the birthday song since I was 3 years old. I don't like people singing it to me and they always want to sing it. So I don't know. I'm very
Do you like it in
strange.
Mexican restaurants when they sing it to you?
I don't want anyone to sing the birthday song of any kind to me.
Okay.
Thankfully, it didn't happen this year because I didn't have a birthday party.
Yeah. Well,
But,
we don't love you.
but also, it's like her like trying to talk about her death. It's more realistic because she's 75. But for some reason, my mom will just out of nowhere start talking about her own death and shit in her 50s and like
Yeah,
what
your
we would
mom's young.
do and all this stuff. I'm like, stop. You're like bringing down the vibe. She's like, well, I'm just being realistic. Realistic about what? You're 54. You'll be all right.
Yeah. Meanwhile, this morning I told my dad, mom has to die before you, or I'm not getting an inheritance, right? Because she can't manage shit. Like, she can't manage her money. Like, she's gonna
Uh-oh.
spend it all. I no, I'll say that. I'll say that on the mic right now. I hope she dies first. I don't care. Or I ain't getting shit, dude. That shit's going down the drain. That's how I feel. That's how I related to this movie. But it is a
Oh,
crazy thing.
my mom,
Uh,
yeah, she'll just get so dark out of nowhere. And I'm like,
yeah.
what are you
Well,
doing?
I don't know.
What are you doing?
What did she do? Did she go to the gym? Did she do anything?
No,
Yeah.
she's got a
Well,
lot
then
of
there you go.
ailments. Like she just got a new hip replacement. She's got
I don't
both
know,
of her
skill
hips
issue.
replaced. Anyway, so it's just so many little aspects that are so realistic and just happen to line up with stuff I've dealt with. And it's
Yeah.
crazy.
No, it's we're universal. Which then does make me wonder, like, there are those things that are almost hard to explain that are very French about this. And we talk about even just like how they interact, and we'll get to this later, but like how permissive the parents are of certain behavior of certain things.
Yeah.
Um, which I think is French. I also think it's like a wealthier thing. I think like wealthier families are like, you know, if you want to drink, I'd rather you do it at home where you're
Yeah.
safe, that sort of thing. Um, or where it's, George W. Bush is like getting DWIs and like getting the presidency or whatever. Um, but I don't know why I brought Bush into this because it's a movie from 2008. Um, but which it does feel it, even the fact that like landlines are part of the plot, as we just mentioned. I was
Yeah.
like, oh, this is like the last gasp of this woman and of like traditional media and of landlines. The landlines are a metaphor for her death. This is a peak old per like the only person I know who has a landline is my grandma. It's all spam callers because like the only people who have landlines anymore are old people, so they just try to scam them out of their retirement savings all day.
How nice.
It's fun. But no. So we have this first act, which is good. They have a housekeeper, which is its own thing, who's also an interesting character because like I've always thought that's weird of like I mean, I get like you're busy professional and you have a maid that comes like once a week or once every couple of weeks to like deep clean, stuff you can't do as like part of a service, you know.
Yeah.
But having a housekeeper or a butler or any of that is so
Yeah,
weird.
like a caretaker.
Yeah. I even get like a grounds person if you have like an like a estate to like take care of the shrubberies and stuff.
Yeah.
But to have this person who's like part of the family but not, and then you're like, where's her family? Is this her family? Like that always baffles me in movie and in real life. It's like I don't know what they're doing. I don't know if they like go home after. Like, does Alfred get laid? Like, I don't know. These are questions I have.
I like that the one time the music really swells is after everyone's leaving and saying their goodbyes to her, and now she's suddenly alone. It happened so fast. She knew deep down this was like the last
Mhm.
big get together at her house with her family, and the music works for conveys everything in that moment. And then suddenly she's sitting in the dark contemplating and reminiscing, I guess. And it's just so the way it happens so fast, almost like a montage, but not, is uh, spot on because that's exactly how it felt in my own life of watching all this play out. I'm like, damn, how did this happen so
No,
quickly?
it's an avalanche. Like you see some pebbles fall, and you get a feeling like
Yeah,
something's about to go here. Also, I gotta shout the light. I mean, this is a lot of natural lighting in the scene, especially like a lot of bright white lighting and like greenery around them, and then you get that like
yeah.
blue like magic hour like
I'm
filtering
sorry.
through the. Well, yeah. What's funny about this,
It's just you look like a fucking gamer.
dude? What do you want from me?
I'm
This
sorry.
fucking mic isn't
I'm
working. This
sorry.
fucking
It's just
Yeti
so
mic that looks like a dildo because it's blurred out. Thank you. There you go. It's fucking
sorry.
shitty. I'm trying to talk about French cinema,
I'm
but I look
sorry.
like I'm about to hit the gritty in Fortnite, dude. What do you want me to use my webcam mic? What the fuck
No,
do you want
no,
from
it's
me?
so fun.
You want
I
me to
don't know.
stop this and go to Best Buy?
No, no, no. I'm
All
sorry.
right.
It's just funny.
Do you want me to speak in leet speak for the rest of the fucking pot? Whatever this is, show.
No, yeah. But it's like
What other stuff you want me to talk about this dead old lady?
well, I just didn't know it's like a fairly conventional opening. Beautiful with how it shows the family and this last kind of thing. And I was like, well, where is it going to go to here? And then we kind of, you think, oh, we're going to get like a funeral scene or something like that. No, it's very, like we said at the very beginning, matter of fact, it's almost cold, but not really, because it's just how life is of like, oh, here's a paper. Now point to where you want to bury your mom. You know, it's like pick out a plot and
Should have already
like
done that.
everyone has to do it, but I haven't done that. But it's like such a weird feeling and watching it just like they've already done the funeral. They've already had their big moments of grief probably, and now we're here and it doesn't let you sit on that at all, which I think is really I like that aspect a lot.
No, we have it's very realistic. We have the brief moment of the son, the one who actually lives in Paris and is the economics professor,
Yeah.
which again, economics professor. He's like the intellectual one, and even then, what's his field? Economics. It's material things, but he's also arguing about man, I forget what his like thesis book he writes that's like talked about on the radio on that like French
Yeah, he gets shit
NPR
on.
sort of thing. Yeah, dude. It's like I was also thinking like, dude, this is so different than like American rate where they're like here to promote a book. This is like, hey, let's shit on this academic's like book that he wrote. It's so blunt and mean. But he has like some theory about like talking about like the political social relations to like property or I don't know, some bullshit. I don't know, some Marxist commie fucking European bullshit. But um so it is interesting, like, and it does make you think like what caused him to take this path versus like the more like traditional career paths that these other, I mean, not that traditional, but like, you know, capitalists, although the guy, his apartment in Paris seems pretty damn nice anyway. So, um, it's a interesting thing. I don't know. But anyway, we have that. What I was getting at is we have that brief moment where he breaks down in the car,
Yeah,
cries, just has to get it out, and then it
yeah,
just moves on. Which is again very realistic. Is like, okay, you have to get it out, but like you have too much stuff. You have like two kids you got to deal with. They're smoking Moroccan hash and doing all this
yeah,
crazy stuff. Um, yeah, deal with it.
yeah. You gotta min max your grief, dog.
You got to min max your grief. No, it's true.
But it's like there
I'm
though some shots I really appreciate because it really does make you feel like you might be some secondary family member just sitting back and listening to everybody discuss these affairs, almost like a fly on the wall kind of thing. Like even there's like one shot I appreciate where it's the sister talking, but like one of the guys gets up to grab something and he's just like standing in front of the camera and she's like, you can't even barely see her. And he's like getting up and stuff. It's almost like you're the one sitting there and you're blocked, but you're still listening in to what she's saying. And then he sits back down. I'm like, this is a very specific kind of shot
It
that
is,
conveys
and
that.
it adds to a weird intimacy
Yeah.
because it is like the camera is placed so not even just like physically close, but like it's so much in there, and there's a lot of like movement back and forth, not cuts, but like movement back and forth, almost like you're turning your head to like look from one person to another in a
Yeah.
conversation, like you're sitting at the table with them. Which I was thinking about while I was watching. I was like, okay, why are they doing this sort of movement other than like a typical like shot counter shot?
Yeah. And it's like, obviously, the house and selling the house would be most practical and beneficial, but
That's the thing. The movie legitimately, there's not even really like I think in a lesser movie that would be almost like that would almost be the plot of like them arguing over like what to do with the house. But in this one, it's so evident. It's like they need to sell the house, dude. Like it's just that's the most logical option,
yeah,
and
like
it's
obviously
that.
that house was central and it represents maybe the family drifting away from each other because they're already on their own paths anyway. Because the one brother is like, yeah, like I'm going back to China. I don't know if I'll be back, or when, and that's kind of just, oof, like damn, no plans to really. I don't know.
I mean, that's the reality of it.
Yeah, I know.
I have friends who like I have a friend who explained to me one time, she had to sit her mom down and be like, "Hey, I'm never coming back." Like she just had to say that. And I think, I'm not trying to talk too much about this, but like her mom died recently and like she was able to make it to the funeral. I think she was maybe able to see it like right before she went, like when she was sick. But like, I mean, yeah, that's something, moving abroad. Like you have to be like, I'm gonna miss people's like weddings. I'm gonna miss people's deaths. Like
Yeah,
I missed our friend Justin's wedding because I was abroad. Stuff like that. Um, and that's something you got to do. But that
but
makes it
yeah,
even harder because it's like, well, I wasn't able to see her. Do I also get rid of the things that remind me of her? Which, by the way, I just want to mention, this is all very French. Like the word Proustian gets thrown around a lot, and I don't think this movie is like Proustian necessarily. But a big part of Proust is like how certain like objects and smells and stuff can trigger memories. I'm just drawing a line there. I'm not
yeah,
even going to comment upon it. I've never read Proust, so I'm wearing a gamer headset. I'm not going to talk about Proust right now,
yeah,
but just drawing a line, just pointing it out.
sure. But yeah, I do appreciate that it isn't this big melodramatic debate on selling the house. It's kind of like, well, if you guys are wanting to do it, I'm not going to really argue with you. You know, it's just natural. And
Oh yeah. And then the daughter's like, I'm getting married, and then they all start laughing, and they're like, oh, okay. They're like, okay, well, so good luck.
it's like in reality, I kind of, it's like if I were had any say so, I'd be like, yeah, let me get a little bit older and I'd gladly move into that house. Shit,
It's
if
a
I had
nice
the money to
house.
renovate it a little bit,
Dude, it's a
soup it
nice
up a little
house.
bit. But it's like, yeah, like if y'all don't want to get rid of it, I'll gladly stay.
Okay, there's also something about like selling the paintings because they need money, and I kind of want to be like, why does this fucking family need money? What are they like? They're living abroad, and
They
like,
want a little padding, yeah, they want to live comfortably.
it looks like they're living pretty comfortably. I don't know.
And
I
it's
need
like
money,
how
bitch.
much nostalgia or actual personal feelings do they have for any of these pieces anyway? Like,
I think a lot of it. I mean, you have at the beginning where like the kids don't really get the art. He tries to show them, and they don't really get it, which
yeah,
is fine. They were nice paintings, by the way. Like we
yeah,
don't. It doesn't like sit there and let you really take it in, but like it didn't look like some like bullshit you got at Goodwill or something.
yeah,
Um, so I do wonder like who they commissioned. I'm assuming they commissioned to like make some of those paintings, or if those are like copies or something of some. I've never heard of whoever that painter is, but apparently I assume he's a real guy. Um, but it is that thing of like, well, this means something to me, but like, does it mean something to anybody else? And also like, it's I think a lot of it is accepting like the memories are what's important,
yeah.
and that's which is what this movie's about, obviously.
Because they talk like several times about like yeah, how people just lock their prized paintings and possessions away, and no one really gets to see them. They collect dust and stuff. And isn't it beautiful to like give it to a museum and now thousands of people can observe and enjoy it too, and you still have the memories aren't going anywhere. So yeah, so I definitely see that aspect, and also,
Yeah, but then
it
do they
benefits the museum.
Yeah, dude, exactly. Well, it is interesting that the Museum d'Orsay did that, but then they acknowledge like the experience of like you walk by a painting that somebody may have spent, a month on and like poured their soul into, and you're just like, and you walk by it, and it means so much to them, and you're
Yeah.
like, eh, I don't like the color scheme, whatever. Like, I like this one over here, dude. Um, and then it's that whole thing of like how do we attribute value to art? Because, like, I mean, a good example of that is like, dude, I don't care about the Mona Lisa. It's a selfie. Like, I don't care, like, or portrait. Like, I don't know. There's cooler paintings out there. I've never seen the Mona Lisa. I've never been to the Louvre, but if I was there, like, I wouldn't like be in that room that's always crowded with a ton of people to see a portrait. And then over here, there's some like Dutch painting of a dude like getting his tooth pulled out. I'm like, dude, this is way cooler. Like an 18th century dentist like that. I think that's way more interesting. So it's like I don't know that's half of art is like, well, what value do we assign to it, especially with like postmodern bullshit
Yeah.
just run its course. I I went with some friends back in fall to the MoMA Museum of Modern Art in New York, and some of them were just like, "What the fuck is this shit?" Like that. I have it, and I. It doesn't mean anything. I've taken an art history course, so I can at least, which was like at 8 a.m. in a gen ed requirement in college, so I was half asleep for. But like, I at least kind of get like, yeah, this is Dadaist, yeah, da da da. And some of it I was into, but I understand a lot of it. You're just like, it's a like in this case, like it's a nice desk, but it's a fucking desk, which I do feel about like a lot of Art Nouveau stuff. You know, I'm like, what is the content here? It's pretty, there's a nice form, but like, does it say anything? And does it need to?
No, yeah, I can just appreciate the aesthetics and move on sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah, the interesting, I was like halfway through this movie, I was like, well, this is really just a slice of life while they settle this woman's estates. There's any friction is very light, any plot is very light. It's not really trying to build to anything huge, but there is that shift in the last 20 minutes where it's like his daughter's getting in trouble at school, and then she's the one who throws the party with their permission, to be fair, at the house. Yeah, I always forget like about hash because we don't smoke hash around here. I was like, what is this dense thing? I'm like, sure. I was like, for a second, I was like, it's not heroin, is it? No, it's hash.
I smoked a fair bit of hash when I was in Europe.
I don't know. It's just not a thing here. I don't know.
Yeah, well, Spain and Morocco are they're right there. There's it's all flown in from there.
But it's like I almost felt like an old man at first when I saw the teens like partying in this old house. I was like, oh, they're treating it poorly. And then I was like, you know what? The house is full of life again one more time, and it's not that big of a deal. Teens like to party, it'll be okay. And just one last time. So, and it's like things in life change and it can change fast and it can be very strange when you're in the middle of it, but there's nothing to do about it really. And it's kind of what it's saying here. And maybe they should have kept the house. Maybe I'm an old curmudgeon of like, but also like, and maybe I'm just jealous that they have a cool house that they could all hang out at, but that's not
Well,
what they
that's my
want to
main
do.
thing. I think it was interesting that they already sold the house, but then they're partying in it because they even joke like, "I hope they don't wreck it," and she's like, "Why?" And they laugh. But then I'm like, "Well, if you already sold it, and then the buyer finds out that there's property damage, like that's actually a huge deal. That's like
They
malpractice or
said they
something. I don't
still
know the
owned it
word
for
is.
a month. I'm like, okay.
What does that mean before it goes back on the market? I don't know. I've never owned property. Look at me. I'm wearing a gamer headset doing a YouTube video about a French movie that nobody's seen. That's not true, but I do
Yeah,
think it's interesting. I will say this. Apparently, the New York Times, uh, back in 2017, ranked this number 7 on the 25 best films of the 21st century so far. They just had their top 100 list of the 21st century films drop out. This one's not on it at all. So it's almost like internet lists are stupid and meaningless. I don't know. Also, Parasite's not the best movie of the 21st century. It's
hell
good.
no.
It's good, but it's number one. Like, come on, dude. Over Spirited Away and There Will Be Blood and Fury Road. Like, come on, dude. Those are all better movies. Memories of Murder is a better movie. That's
Memories of Murder
99,
is a bit, yeah, I like
in
it
my
more than
opinion. That's
Parasite.
my opinion. I enjoy it more.
Hell, I like. I'm not gonna say Snowpiercer is a better movie. I enjoy that more though than Parasite.
Yeah, I get it.
But
Parasite's better than Mickey 17. I'll give him that.
sure. What do you make though of that final scene where it's the daughter kind of she briefly like gets emotional about her grandma and then she's enjoying the estate with that boy and then they kind of just hop over the fence and then that's it.
I mean, I think it's what you said. Like they're enjoying it in a different way in the last time, and they didn't have the exact same connection to that house.
Yeah.
And also, like they're younger, they're not processing emotions the same way.
Yeah.
Like um, it's different, and you know, and she'll probably only really like her frontal lobe will be developed enough to like really appreciate it when she's older. But like, yeah, that's her and her boyfriend who they're doing it apparently, um, and they're moving on. I mean, that's and the memories are with her as she moves on across her life. So like, it's gone, but it's it's just the object. It's just stuff.
Yeah. And it's like these teenagers aren't thinking too much of it, and I think that's kind of the way to. You might they might find that on immature on the surface, but it's just kind of realistic how it is. So I think it has its beauty in its own way, which is I think conveyed by that
I mean,
shot.
no, absolutely. I mean, I think it's the absolutely the right way to end that movie, and it's And again, it goes back to like people's appraisal of objects, whether that be a house or art. Like, it's so damn subjective, and like, how important is the object really versus like the metaphysical things that it evokes,
Yeah.
um because those other kids are just there to like drink and like play weird French gangster rap,
Yeah.
and then
Shitty
like,
music.
yeah, dude, and like dance awkwardly to like 2000s pop French pop music because they're white.
Yeah, it's just like, yeah, like throwing a ball against the wall and shit. It's just like you don't give a fuck about this. But yeah, so I think that is like a great way
Mm.
to end that film. So
In a way, it's kind of the only way to end.
yeah, unless it like flipped it on its head and was like, actually, we're gonna keep this house and we're gonna be overly nostalgic and we're not gonna be able to escape this bubble of this time that we used to have when we were younger, even though it's long past and we should have moved on, but we're just gonna fester in it forever. That would have been
Doesn't the
the dark ending.
Descendants end with make it sound like a video game? I'm just wearing that saying that because I'm wearing this headset. But I got the Sith ending. But the doesn't the Descendants, Alexander Payne's Descendants, doesn't that end with George Clooney be like, no, we're not getting rid of this land. We're giving it to something. But that's the thing where it's like they actually have something to, and again, that's an American movie, so that's different. Maybe we do put more weight on that. But then also, like, I get the sense that they were selling that to corporate interests versus like this is going to another family potentially, not to like, you know, some, private
Yeah.
equity. I don't know what you call it. I don't have money, but um, sort of thing. I don't know. Cinematic
Okay.
parallels.
Yeah. Well, I feel like that was kind of my final thoughts on Summer Hours.
Yeah, me too. It's
Cool.
nothing happens, but everything happens because it's French.
Well, thanks for listening, everybody. I think that wraps up our episode. Next week will be, well, our next episode. We kind of space out the summer series sometimes to give ourselves a little break. But we'll be back next time with Richard Donner's Superman cut, Superman Part 2 cut, which I'll be talking a little bit about the original cut and how, or the cut today, and how that this one came to be and why there was such a mix up. And so tune in for that because we're celebrating James Gunn's release. Cape shit, but everyone wants to see it. So what are you gonna
I
say?
I'm
Fuck you.
excited. I can't even cap. Like, I'm excited, dude. I hope it's good.
Yeah, so if you want, we have plenty more summer themed episodes on this channel. Go check those out. Other episodes of The Harbor, video essays, all that good stuff. Anytime. Anyway, I hope you're enjoying your summer. We'll see you next week.